Hello, everyone. My name is Sarafi, and I'm happy to meet you all. And it's just me today. It's been probably over a month since I did a video with just me. But regardless, today we're going to talk about our ban list predictions. And usually I go way too long on these and no one watches them, so I'm going to go through this real quick. How things going? We have Rockets and Trickstars, which are both too good and have been too good for too long. They're probably both going to get hit. BLS is also too powerful, so I have some suggestions there. 10E is also a really powerful deck, but the cards are what makes it powerful, just like how Rokket, it was the cards that made it powerful. So I don't imagine they're going to get hit quite yet, because there's not an easy way for it to do it without killing the deck. They'll probably let 10E be okay for a while, and then nerf them in a couple months. Everything else is fine. So for Rockets, Silver Rocket Dragon was put to 3 because it was an Odd Eyes counter. Odd Eyes is no longer meta relevant, so go ahead and unnerf Silver Rocket Dragon. Instead, put Quick Launch to 3. Quick Launch is probably the best card in the deck. It is better than Rocket Tracer because it is not once per turn. You put Quick Launch to 3, the deck is going to play 3 Quick Launches. This will mean that you can finally get rid of the Limit 3 back row instead of having people just kind of like run 2 of them or something. If Konami thinks that Rockets are still too powerful, because I think Rockets are probably going to be one of the most represented decks in the KC Cup, then they might also change the skill to require you to run 12 Rockets instead of 9. We do have more cards now, so that would be fine. And I think that will probably make the deck better. But I'm also going to suggest a Rocket buff, because the thing I don't like about Rockets is that the skill requires you to play Borrel Dragon in your deck, but it doesn't feel like a Rocket deck. Um, None of the Rockets except Tracer do anything. They restore themselves at the end of the turn, but Rocket Tracer is the only one that like uses its actual effect. When was the last time you actually saw someone use a Link monster to target Magna Rocket Dragon so that you could, send a card from your opponent's side of the field to the graveyard, right? That's not happening. So, Borrel launch needs to be changed. So, I want to remove the part about putting Delindrus in your graveyard on turn 5. It's too late for it to matter. Instead, add once per duel. If you control Borrel Dragon, you can set Borrel Supplier from outside your deck. And Borrel Supplier is in the game. It's a rare continuous spell. And it says, during each standby phase, if you control a Borrel Link monster, you can target one Rocket monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but destroy it during the end phase. So this card is a good card, especially for how we use, especially for the limitations of Duel Links. Only having a few zones, only having so many cards in your deck to work with. The main problem with Borrel Supplier is you only have 4 cards in your starting hand, and with the skill wanting you to have the field spell immediately, you want as many rockets in your opening hand as possible. So people aren't really inclined to run Borrel Supplier, especially since we only have 2 Borrel monsters right now. So what I would suggest is that you give this to the player for free, but only if they make Borrel Dragon, because that's the only time it would be useful. This will encourage people to play Borrel Dragon. And imagine if you could actually play Borrel Dragon, and then you had just disruption on your opponent's turn. Maybe you have, an extra link. You destroyed a card with Rocket Tracer to bring something else out. Then you get to special summon like Metal Rocket from your deck, and then you use Borrel Supplier during your opponent's standby phase, and you revive Magna Rocket. Now you have Metal Rocket and Magna Rocket, and you have Borrel, which can, without your opponent being able to react, snipe one of those during their turn, and then use the effect of the card on the field to then hit one card on your opponent's side of the field. This gives you some interaction, some disruption, which Rockets are supposed to have. This is their deck. This is what they're supposed to do, but no one's doing it. Right now, the deck just feels like a worse version of Dragon Link. Going into Evil Swarm Nightmare or Berserker of the Tiny. I'm not saying that you should stop doing that. Nothing that I've suggested stops you from doing that. But instead, there should be an option for the people who just want to play Rockets. And this will be an easy way to encourage Borrel to be good. Additionally, if you are encouraged to play Borrel, especially in the early turns, that will also make Borrel Furious Dragon better, because the second effect of Borrel Furious Dragon, where you banish it from the graveyard to revive a Dark Link monster from your graveyard, becomes better. Now you have a big Dark Link monster that could potentially be in your graveyard. So you could see a shift with the skill change from Xyz and Synchro to, Links and Fusions like we're supposed to play right now. We will eventually get Borrel X Charge Dragon, maybe Borrel Savage Dragon, and that's fine. But right now, we should be playing Borrel cards. There's no reason for us not to be. So if the skill is going to require you to play Borrel Dragon, the skill should reward you for summoning Borrel Dragon instead of going into 2 Synchro or Xyz monsters for the same number of materials. For Blackluster Soldier, the problem with the skill is that the skill gives you a second hand in your graveyard, and the Magistus Engine gives you a third hand with the extra deck. This results in your actual hand not needing to be threats or removal. So instead, it's going to be almost all back row. The reason why Blackluster Soldier sets 3 is because they can literally build a board with just one card in their hand. The solution to this is to change the skill so that it only works if your extra deck is completely empty. The skill already prevents you from fusion summoning, synchro summoning, and Xyz summoning. There are no link monsters in archetype that we have access to, so the deck isn't losing anything that's related to Blackluster Soldier or Gaia the Fierce Knight. So why do we even have it? You know, they gave it to us so that we would have the ability to link summon, probably primarily so that we could link the Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning off after we've already used the effect to banish. That will be lost by making this change, but the deck is tier 1. It deserves to lose some power. So you make the deck less consistent. You make the deck need more cards in its deck for going seconds. Right now, it doesn't need spell and trap removal because it has a Demion. It doesn't need monster negates because it has a Demion. It doesn't need draw because it has Endymion. And removing Endymion is not going to change that. I know MechLord suggested that we put Endymion to 3 and BLS Envoy at the beginning to 3. I don't think that's needed. The skill is the problem, not the cards. Make it so that the deck can't run Magistus at all by banishing the extra deck. You don't need the extra deck. And then that will fix all these problems. Trickstars have 2 in-archetype hand traps. They have Lycoris and they have Corbane. They're able to use Dark Hole, Needle Sealing, and White Princess to a better effect than anyone else because they can protect their own monsters from being destroyed, and all their monsters are link monsters, so they aren't affected by White Princess, and they don't have any Xyz monsters. They also gain 2,000 life points from the skill. That is required for Crimson Heart to function in any capacity. I don't have a problem with that, but you shouldn't just think that the skill giving you an extra card draw is what it's doing. It's also giving you 2,000 life points. So since you have that extra amount of protection, you don't need as much protection from your cards. So I suggest that we change the deck to only allow you to run Trickstar monsters. Cut White Princess out. They're not currently running Effect Veiler as far as I know, but just cut that out beforehand. Just make it so that, you know, they're really good at going second, but they're more vulnerable at going first. They have 6,000 life points. It's still going to be hard to beat over them, but if you can force them to use a card like Corbane on your turn, then they have fewer options for their turn. But White Princess is literally just a hand trap. It works good on their turn, it works good on your turn, which Corbane also works good on their turn and works good on your turn, but Corbane can also be used as link material. So you want to make them have to make a choice between hand traps or link material. And right now they don't have to make that choice because they have White Princess. So Needle Sealing should also go to 3. That's the only increased limit I'm proposing. Doesn't make sense to put it anywhere else. So this will hit both Rockets and Trickstars, but just Needle Sealing to 3. Leave Dark Hole alone, it's fine. Unlimits. Mirror Force does not deserve to be limit 1. Mirror Force is probably worse than a lot of other battle traps that we currently have. I would say Mirror Force is probably worse than Wall of Disruption. I would say Mirror Force is probably worse than Drowning Mirror Force. It's a cool thematic card, and we only have 1 copy anyway, so it's fine to just be a soft limit 1. It doesn't have to be a hard limit 1. Now that I'm saying that, Monster Reborns probably are also a card that you could consider to move to unlimited, but I'll leave it alone for right now. Silver Rocket Dragon, I already said that it should be unlimited, but I'm putting it here for consistency's sake. Spear Cretin, this card is bad. If people want to try and loot with Spear Cretin, more power to them. Just bully the NPCs. It's funny. Floodgate Trap Hole, this card was limited solely because of Pendulum monsters. Cosmic Cyclone has already been unlimited, so I feel like they just kind of forgot to unlimit Floodgate Trap Hole as well. But this card does not need to be limit 3 anymore. The days of people summoning 3 monsters at the same time are now over. Let's go back to Floodgate Trap Hole being an option for players who have an older collection. As well as, you know, it will encourage people to be excited about box chips. Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, this one's a little bit more controversial, but currently Mechanites have 2 other limit 3s. They have Purple Nightfall and World Legacy Memory limited to 3 already. Then they also have World Legacy Secrets limit 1, World Legacy Whispers limit 1, and Mech Knight Blue Sky limit 2. Like, Mech Knights have been completely destroyed. Let's just let Mech Knights be dead. You know, if Mech Knights start using Ibli again, who cares? Mermaid is banned. But Ibli is a cool card that could be used in Salamangrates. It could be used in Code Talkers. It could be used in Evil Twins. And those decks are already pretty decent. Giving them some extra disruption and some extra recovery would be nice. You know, Ibli is not that big of a deal. Yes, it's a powerful card. Yes, it can shut down some decks. But it's better than the card not seeing any play at all. If we've seen what Ibli is like at 3, no one plays the card. That's not healthy. Ibly should definitely be unlimited if we have Ban Mermaid. So unlimited Ibly. And then Concentrating Current was limited because of the Invoked deck, but they unlimited the Invoked limit too. So I feel like they just kind of forgot that they limited Concentrating Current to go with that. This card should definitely be unlimited, and Silent Sword Slash as well, but I didn't have space on the slide. All right, that's everything. Thank you very much for coming, and this is Serafi. I was thrilled to have you all with me.